everyone. Welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers, seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
All right. I have been super kind of like distracted this week.
I know you have.
And I've had like a million little things to do.
Yeah.
And which is fine. I'm not complaining that I have a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
But what it ends up doing for me is like pulling me out of my favorite state, which is being in like a flow state.
Oh, wow.
And
You'll
so
have to tell me
I feel
how
like
that
I
feels
don't
to be in a flow.
So I feel like I don't get a lot done, even though I've got all this like little popcorn stuff to do.
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, a lot of like my feeling of getting stuff done is like when I'm in this kind of like
Yeah.
high output
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
And when I don't get there, I get a little grumpy.
Hey, I think, just to make sure we're framing this in the right way, so I'm making sure I'm on the same page with you. Tell me what you consider being in a flow state is.
Okay. So for me, like when I'm like doing what I feel is kind of like some of my best work,
Okay.
I am in this mental space.
Yeah.
Or maybe this like emotional space.
Or both together, maybe.
Probably both together.
Yeah.
Or probably even physical. Probably all of this stuff aligns.
Yeah.
So that everything that I'm working on feels really easy.
Yeah.
It just comes out naturally somehow.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like I'm struggling or pushing hard or anything, even though what I'm doing is really great. It's like everything just works, everything clicks, everything comes together.
Hey.
Like, it's just like sort of magic happens somehow, like off my fingers onto my keyboard.
Hey, I have a funny question for you. When's the last time that you looked at the Self-Awareness Journey roadmap?
Oh no, it's been a while.
Do you know what you just did? I'm
What?
laughing at you. No, I'm not laughing at you. Well, I kind of am. Laughing with you. This is the authentic state.
Oh, yeah, right. The centered state.
The centered state. And when we were saying flow a minute ago, I wasn't even there mentally until you started using the exact same words that we talk about. If anybody wants to see the roadmap, we have it on the Self-Awareness Journey roadmap or the selfawarenessjourney.com website. It's a single pager. Shows a guy walking up a sand dune with kind of a bunch of words on one side and the other. Anyhow, the authentic self is exactly what you're talking about, and I just love that. Like you were saying,
It's like you're in that,
you're in the zone.
You're in that like centered state, and you are like your authentic self. Like everything about you is just coming out perfectly smoothly.
Yeah, exactly. So you know what's funny about that? Because like when I asked you what you thought flow was, and I was starting to think, what do I think of a flow state? Like, because does flow state have to mean high output? And I don't think it does.
As a person who has got like a lot of my personal value / identity wrapped around those words, I think I agree with you. They don't have to be. That was like a JJ specific response.
But hang on a minute. It's a specific response based on what's going on for you right now. You added, you can get a bunch of stuff done because in your flow state, when you have a lot to do, you are able to get it all done and it's easy.
Yeah.
Right? But even like for me, the flow state feels exactly the same way that you described it. It is feeling really like calm and yet able to be instantaneous in how fast I would make decisions or how fast I can act on something or how slow I choose to. But the main component of that is just feeling really easy inside. Like everything just feels like it's connected. And it's the best feeling in the world.
Totally. I think I don't know if like the flow state concept originally came out of sports or or where, like, I know that
Oh.
there was like this book about it. I can't remember what the book was, but um, athletes talk about being in flow state
Mm-hmm.
where they get
Mm.
themselves into a spot where, you know, if they're playing basketball, like
Yeah.
all their shots go in,
Yeah.
right? Everything moves
Effortless.
smoothly. Everything is easy. And so one thing I like about playing sports as an adult is you can actually get into that state of mind. Like I can get into that state of mind in tennis.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. This
And it's really fun.
yeah.
It makes it so
You
fun.
know what? Oh my gosh. So I do fly fishing. And
Hmm.
one of the components, one of the most important things in fly fishing is casting.
Mm.
And fly casting is not an easy skill to learn. It's a difficult skill to learn
Hmm.
and then to perfect. And it can make the difference
Hmm.
between being able to not cast or cast where the fly just literally drops in front of your in front of your
Hmm.
rod 9 feet from where you started, or being able to cast 100 and 120 yards.
Hmm.
And the main difference between those two things is the flow.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's like understanding how to move your hand and arm and body to create that flow. And when you're practicing, it's just like you were saying with tennis, you can totally feel when you're out of
Hmm.
flow. Like physically,
Yep.
if you want a manifestation of flow, that's such a good example.
Well, fly fishing, tennis, a whole variety of things, even in our work, like a lot of, especially those sports are all very fast.
Yeah.
So what
Mhm.
happens is
Mhm.
like it all has to be muscle memory
Yeah.
stuff,
Right.
right? It just has to come out of your muscle memory. And so when you start thinking like, oh, I need to like move my thumb or this way, or I need to move my elbow this way to get a snap in a certain way. Once you start using like your, I don't know, more prefrontal cortex, like you start
Yeah.
thinking about stuff, everything becomes way jerkier
Mm-hmm.
and less smooth. And that's where you lose it.
Hmm. So these are really good sports analogies and physical analogies. Let's talk about our work output, like the mental side of it. Because I think that,
Yes.
that's a really interesting thing to pick apart.
Yep. So the last time I was in flow state
Yeah.
doing some work,
Mm-hmm.
was like a couple weeks ago when I was on an airplane
Oh.
on the way to Las Vegas. So
For a
I don't,
very,
for
very
some
big
reason,
trade show.
for me, being on an airplane
Oh.
almost instantly gets me into this flow state. It's the craziest thing. Sometimes I joke like I'm just gonna fly somewhere random
See, you can get some
just
stuff
so I
done.
can be in this state. You know,
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's
I'll be a
awesome.
platinum diamond Delta flyer just because it's the only way I can get work done.
Well,
No, so the nice thing for me, like I think there's some things that like about that particular environment
yeah, me
that
too.
put me into flow state.
Yeah, I
So
came up with one thing immediately. Tell me what you think.
so like when I'm on an airplane,
Yep.
it's like I'm kind of like I'm not very distracted,
No.
right?
Mm-mm.
Like I'm kind of like locked into my little seat. I've got my laptop like right off on my tray.
Mhm.
Like everything's kind of like
Right
really
close
focused in.
Yep.
I always get the window seat, so like
I
I
do
can't even
too.
get out to go to the bathroom, so I'm just really stuck in there. It's kind of like time blocked. Like I know I'm going to be on this flight for 2
Oh
hours,
yeah, yeah.
and there's nothing to do for 2 hours, and somehow that pulls me in, and then I usually try to just work on a singular task,
Mm.
and usually the internet's bad enough. Like
Yeah,
I used to
true.
love when planes didn't have internet because I'm like, this is perfect,
Yeah.
super focused. But now that they have internet, you can kind of get distracted a little bit too much. And they've got like all the seat back entertainment stuff, which I never use.
Oh, you
Uh,
don't?
But no, it kind of because I know I can get in this state when I'm on a plane, I never use that stuff because I'm like, this is for me to get into flow state.
Hmm.
And then it's great. Like
You didn't
I put my
mention.
headphones on.
Oh, go ahead.
I
Yep.
I put my headphones on. I lock into my laptop. I don't know, maybe there's a little less oxygen up there. Maybe that helps. I'm not sure.
Like a
But
bug. You know, I would just add to that. There's one major thing that you didn't say that I think has huge subconscious impact, and that is the sound.
mm,
The sound, that drone, that consistent, quiet drone.
yeah,
And even if you put your, because I have, the Bose not, noise canceling over the ear headphones, so they're big,
yep,
covers.
yep. You still hear it, or you still feel it, or something.
Or
There's
when you
something
push,
about
when you push that noise canceling button, it makes it does a different sound, but it's again the same consistent, like it's a different tone, but it's the same thing. It cancels out the extra rough sounds, and it's just a very consistent hum. And that is massively important to use when you are calming your brain. And that, to me, like, that's what puts me in a flow state when I get in a plane, that sound. Plus all these other, other things. And I have to consciously work in a plane if I'm trying to get in the zone like this, to get into a flow state. I have to work to cancel out the person next to me. Like any distraction that person may give, whether they're fidgety, whether they have a bunch of stuff, whatever show they might be watching on their screen, whether they're eating loud or whatever, that to me is like something that has to be worked on to be canceled out so that you can be in flow in an airplane. But
it's just, all right, am I gonna send next time you go on an airplane? I'm gonna send you with like something that like pops up as like a shield next to the person.
Oh my gosh,
to block them out.
It's been a long time since you've come up with a business idea. I think that's one that needs a fun comp. We might have to do a naming,
Focus.
Yeah, a lunch.
They're like focus enhancers, and they just like
it's like putting me in my own little chicken coop.
just
But you know what? This just brings me to this idea. I think that there's, like when we talk about being in the flow, I think that there's actually two different sets of things that need to be paid attention to reach a flow state or to stay in a flow state as long as you can. I don't know how long, I don't know how long a person can stay in flow state, but it just the idea of being able to extend that for as long as we want just seems so awesome, doesn't it? But I think there's two key things. I think there's the external things and external things that you can control. I also think then there's the internal things, the mind and emotional and the, those kinds of things. It'd be interesting to hear what you think about this.
Well, yeah, we just talked a lot about environment. So I think your environment is really important.
Yeah.
If you're going to get yourself into flow. Like for me, like you said, like distractions have to be eliminated somehow. Like my phone's got to go away.
Yeah.
Other people have got to go away.
Yeah.
My desk has to be clean. Maybe like there's probably noise and things like that's got to click right. And then internally.
Wait. Before you do the internally thing, I was just going to say, the other thing I think externally that's worth thinking about is that when we're wanting to put ourselves in a flow state or, try to continue with one, not only those factors that you listed, but I think also the time of day.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, because if you're energetically not with it, or you know that you are going to have people like coming in, like if you're working from home, your kids are going to come home or your spouse is going to come home at a certain time. You're distracted by that. Even if you don't think you are, it's sitting in the back of your mind. So you're kind of on a limited timeline. So I feel like if you, as you said the word time blocking in the airplane, which is really true. But I think also you can do that at home, recognizing, or in your office, when is the best opportunity where it's going to be able to give you that state?
Yeah. How many people do you know will say things like, I'm so productive in the morning?
Totally.
Well, that's like an energy thing.
Yep.
That's probably a time thing around who else is around in the morning.
Yeah. And it's subtle, it's subtle. And the other external thing too, I think is like, I don't remember if this is from AA or if it's from something else, but the acronym HALT, doing your own inventory. Am I hungry, angry, lonely, tired? But like, are you hungry? Are you emotionally distracted by something that you could take care of so that it didn't have to be kind of plugging at you? Like, I guess that's more internal, but are you hungry? Are you tired? Like, because get that
like,
stuff taken care of first.
Like, prepare, like,
Yeah.
like what's your like little
Yeah.
ritual? Like, okay, like I don't have to go to the bathroom. I've got my coffee.
Exactly.
I set myself up, in a way that will be able to get into flow state.
Yeah. I think the funny thing about this conversation is that being in flow implies effortless experience. And, but it's so hard to have things be effortless these days, So I think there's things that we can do with effort to create an effortless flow, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and as we kind of maybe start talking about like what is happening internally, flow state happens when you are in the moment.
Exactly.
When you are super present in the moment and not worrying about the past, the future, or other things. You're just like right there.
Yeah, right there.
With whatever you're working on in the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, exactly. So this is the juxtapost of this, because I think if you're at the beginning of your journey of trying to find yourself and find how you can be in your flow state, you hit upon it by accident sometimes. And then you think, oh, wow, that was awesome. I don't know what happened. It was just, everything just worked. It was just easy. Like, I just came up with this idea. I don't know what happened. Like, I think it does happen sort of by accident until you recognize it's not by accident.
I think there's a couple things that you need to do or like that need to also happen for you to be in flow state. Like for me, I need to be working on something that is not too easy where I'll get distracted, or isn't too hard where I'll get like frustrated. Or stuck or really like emotionally kind of like off kilter because of it.
And when you say hard, for me, I would say yes, 100% agree. And that for me would look like if the project is too big, like, or there's too many details or something like that.
Yeah. Like that flow state on the plane. I actually did like a little, I did some programming, some computer programming, which was fun, which was slightly challenging, but wasn't like completely outside my skill.
Right.
Like, it pushed me a little.
Yeah.
It pushed me enough where it was like super fun.
That's cool.
So like your task, I think your task is super important.
Yeah.
As you're like trying to get into it. But there's a couple other things like that will easily pull me out of flow state, and these are kind of like more internal things. So like that again, like how hard or easy the task is. Also like sometimes if it's too hard, it'll bring you into self-doubt. Right?
Yes.
You'll be like, oh yeah,
you'll
I
get
can't do
swamped.
this.
You'll get swamped
Like, I
with
can't
sad
do it.
or
I'm not,
angry or negative.
It's too hard. I'm not smart enough. I don't know how to do it. And then that kind of spirals you out pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's such a good point. Yeah, that's such a good point. Talk about your other internal stuff.
And just like being tired, right? Or just being mentally tired. We talked about timing of working on stuff, but like, we all get it. Sometimes you're just like, oh, my brain's a little too foggy today. I'm a little too tired, a little burnt out.
Right.
And when you're in those states, or you have like a lot of other stuff on your mind and you just can't put it down, right? You can't get into the moment.
Right. Which is, yes, exactly right. And that's that frenetic thinking, frenetic activity, where you just feel like you're chasing your tail all the time. Your to-do list is too big or what have you, so you can't settle your brain. So I have that occasionally, maybe more than I want to admit. Don't say anything. Squirrel. I got a lot of squirrels. and none of them are organized. But I think too, like as you're talking about being in the flow and in what your brain is doing and how your emotions are reacting to what your brain is doing, I also think the flow for me can be the absence of doing. Like, like when you first wake up in the morning, how your brain doesn't have anything in it yet, and you're just slowly, when you're just starting to wake up. Now, I have a pretty short window there because I jump right from dead sleep to standing on my feet, dressed and ready to run, right? But but in between those two states, there is a calm where everything is still connected. You have reset everything. Everything has been reset from sleep. And I think that's a really good time to just gently gather this concept of starting a flow. And going easy, going easy with yourself. Like we talked about how that the noise on the plane, I was mentioning that. Well, there are a lot of meditation teachers that talk about using a white noise to put your brain into a more calm state. And a white noise, everybody has smartphones now. There's a million free ones, where you can have like a white noise or a green noise or a brown noise or what have you. But it is that sort of staticky, quiet, soothing sound, or a fan or something like that. I think putting your mind in that easy state makes it be more receptive, in which it can act on the things that are the highest and best interest of you in that moment. Whether that be production of something, whether that be emotionally putting you in a better state than you were. Like, to me, that is also a really important part of flow.
I love your description of like how your flow state is like very calming with white noise and probably like Tweety birds and blah blah. It focuses me into my flow state. Super fast techno music with no words.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what does it.
Oh my God. So maybe that's different. Yeah, that's interesting.
I think I've like Pavlov dogged myself into like that's my trigger because I have this one playlist. It has and the no words for me is key, or else I try to like think about whatever the lyrics are.
Oh, I know. Your
and it's
90s
just
playlist.
It's like super fast. I'm like, yes, locked in. Let's go.
Oh, that is so awful. That would make me feel awful. It's so good that we found like that joint playlist though when we were doing all of our choreology stuff, because it was like 90s rap and we listened to that on repeat.
I think there's a lot of triggers that after you've done a couple reps of being in the flow state, you'll be like, you will get triggers that get you in there faster. And that music's one of them for me.
Oh, probably that super interesting
ding noise on the airplanes. The other one. I should get that. And play that on my my phone in the morning. That should be my wake up, my alarm noise.
Oh my God.
It's gonna drive my wife crazy.
Yes.
Why does our bedroom sound like an airplane dinging noise? Seatbelt.
I'm gonna text her right after we hang up. Amber, heads up, man. I don't know how to tell you this, but it's going down. Ding. But we're having kind of like even in this conversation, we're really talking about such opposition, right? We're talking about flow as a state of high production, high output. But we're also talking about flow being those things with ease. With ease. And so that's why I was saying, like, some of these things, like having an awareness about what these things are that help put you in your state is really the key to you being able to figure out, first of all, to recognize when you're in it. Like, oh, I'm in this flow right now. Like, I feel it. I know I am. And then any way that you can, using some of these tactics and techniques to extend that period as long as possible. Or to get back into it if you fall out quick.
Yep. Yeah, and that's getting back into falling out of flow and not being able to get back in is so frustrating.
Absolutely. Especially the more time you spend in flow and know what it feels like.
Here's the thing I do. I wouldn't say all the time, but probably hopefully I do this every week. Not quite every week, but I do this like routinely.
Yeah.
Is I will get so in the zone on something that I'm working on, I will totally miss meetings. I will totally miss things because I
Yes,
get
you have
locked
done
into
that. Yeah.
locked into a project. And in one way, it's kind of like embarrassing. Like
Mm,
how did I miss a meeting at work? Like totally miss it.
yeah.
And in one way, I just don't even want to apologize for it. Like
Yeah.
I was in flow.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like
Yeah.
work around
Deal
the
with it.
delicate geniuses, like emotional states.
Hang on a minute. I just got to write that down. Delicate genius. How do you spell that? I feel like there's a t-shirt or a bumper sticker. Well, this is really interesting. I think, I would just like people to pause and think through what it feels like for them to be in flow. And what topics, are there certain topics that you feel being in the flow is more beneficial for you?
Yeah.
Because I think that's an interesting thing too, is because I think being in the flow feels like you didn't do anything and it's all so easy. But actually being in the flow, if you have awareness, you can create those moments and have those moments a lot.
I think actually it's probably like an expression of mastery.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah. That's
like
really
once you
good.
get in there, and it can start like and everyone has this everywhere in their life, right? Like
Yeah.
I can feel in the flow while I'm weeding our front yard. Like, because there's just something about it. It's like kind of easy, and I'm like, I'll fall in all these weeds, and like I get in this present state. It's very meditative, right? So like the gap between meditating and being in the flow is there isn't one. It's the same thing. And so like you're saying, I talk a lot about these things about like how I'm in the flow, like playing tennis and programming and doing these high output things, but it can be the same for meditating, gardening, landscape, like a whole host of, doing your craft. Like lots of people get in the zone when they're crafting, when they're sewing, when they're scrapbooking,
doing
those
something
things
they love.
really get you there quickly.
Yeah.
And then if you can observe and reflect how you got there during that kind of hobby activity, you can actually start applying that to your work.
Yeah, that's really good. This has been a fun conversation. So in other words, don't play my chill music when we're trying to get in a flow project together. Let you use your playlist.
We'll have like two separate headphones and playlists going. We'll see. We can experiment
next time.
All right. I'm off to find my ding noise and play my techno music.
I'm off to text your wife.
All right. There you go.
That was good.
What am I going to do today to get...
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.